Hello, Facebook friends. Well, I am in Troy, Missouri. I'm talking to a family who really had a terrible run-in with a pack of dogs that attacked their 5-year-old daughter. And obviously, it is, you can imagine how you would feel if that happened in your family. But what they're trying to do, they're trying to do something about it, right? We've seen that happen with a number of families. We've seen one lady, 62-year-old in St. Louis, who was killed when she was mauled to death by a pack of pit bulls that attacked her in her yard in North St. Louis. The prosecutor declined to file criminal charges against the owner. And you've seen several of the posts that I did about Gabe Gore, the St. Louis City prosecutor, and his decision not to file charges. You've seen another case where I interviewed a mom in North County where both she and her daughter had been attacked by. Let me ask the family some questions about this right now. Let me get your name first.
Yeah, my name's Eric Hudson.
And your trooper right here.
Go ahead.
What's your name?
My name's Kennedy Hudson.
Hi, Kennedy. Let me get your name.
Courtney Hudson.
Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so on February 20th of this year, Kennedy was walking up the street about 4 houses down to go play with a friend of hers. And, I watched her walk up there. She went to the door. I came inside, started doing some laundry. And then pretty quickly after that, we ended up having, my dog outside was going nuts. And I went to check, and I saw a neighbor that was carrying her down the street. And so I go to my front door, and I see Kennedy is covered head to toe in blood. So we were, obviously, we freaked out. I ran and grabbed her. She had a lot of blood streaming from right over the right eye. First thing I did was I was checking to make sure her eye was still there. I brought her in, and from that point, we had taken her, got her in the van to take her to the hospital for treatment. And from the story from that point, we had gotten from eyewitnesses, the man who saved her, a neighbor of ours named Tim Traw, who definitely jumped in and did us all a favor, and I would say absolutely saved our daughter. And then, thankfully, another neighbor also was involved in helping his name was John, to help distract some of the dogs, so we could get her back and get her some treatment.
What was going through your mind in all this?
First, it was concern for Kennedy. Not knowing how much she was bitten. That ride to the hospital was one of those things where we're not waiting for an ambulance. We need to get her somewhere. So we took her to the Lincoln County Emergency Department, and I was helping basically hold something above her eye to keep the bleeding, try to stop the bleeding. And once we got to the hospital, it was really just quite a bit of emotions, worry for Kennedy. Not going to lie, a lot of guilt, anger was very evident that day. But once again, it was all about Kennedy's treatment. So we just did what we could for her to support her while she's in the hospital that evening, getting treatment.
So what happened to the dogs?
Currently, the dogs were placed on a 10-day quarantine. Unfortunately for Lincoln County right now, there's not enough funding for an animal control. So it's up. Unfortunately, it's up to the sheriff's department to pull double duties on. Not only trying to help Lincoln County out, but have to deal with these nuisance animals calls and animal attacks. And I had some general conversations after this attack with our sheriff Rick Harrell, who basically said they're handcuffed with current Missouri laws. It's a lot of these attacks that happen. This one was the first bite offense. But a lot of the attacks that you hear about from other people, and some people have reached out, it's been dogs who have been frequent offenders. There's got to be some kind of legislation or something made in the law to where this just isn't allowed to happen. And kids can, my daughter, this was an unprovoked attack. And, the dogs are still allowed to be there. So who says that they can't get out again? So.
You've seen the dog, you've since seen this dog walk past your house, the owner walking the dog?
So my father.
The dog's still around?
The dogs are still around. I have not seen them loose personally. I had a plumber over here, and the homeowner had brought one of the dogs down. My dad had intercepted while I was outside doing something, and basically had said, no, he doesn't want to talk right now. But beyond that, I haven't personally seen them from that point. I believe that was within that quarantine period.
But the dogs are still alive.
Still alive.
Nothing happened to the dogs other than the quarantine.
That's it.
What's your feeling about that?
Who says that they're not
What's
going to
your
attack
feeling
him?
about that?
It's something that's definitely troubling. Our kids can't go out and play in the neighborhood. They can't ride their bike. They can't walk from their friend's house because the dogs are still here. They're in the neighborhood. We don't know if they're going to get out again. We have to take Kennedy and our other kids to friends' houses. We have to get them off the bus every day because they're too scared to walk in the neighborhood. Those dogs are still here and they know it. And as a parent, that's gut-wrenching, and you feel like you failed as a parent because those dogs are still here. Those dogs who took her childhood away are still here.
Kennedy, what was your feeling as you were going through all this? Tell me from in your words what happened.
So like when I was walking up to Remy's house, when no one answered, and then I just only heard their dog barking, and then when I was like by the grass, like next to the sewer, and then so when the dogs ran up, they just like flipped me backwards, and then they started attacking me, and then I called for help, and then Tim came up, and then he started carrying me all the way back home. And then I had to get rushed to the hospital, and then like when I came back, my mama was out of the house, and then I started kind of crying a little bit, and then when I was at the hospital, I was literally covered in blood, like almost everywhere. Like there was a lot of blood, like all over me, like my head, right over here, and then my chin, kind of, and then like everywhere else, and then it had a, and then there was like big bleeding spot, which is my head. My head had been the one first, the tall dog that was up my head. That was the one that bit me, or it was the other dogs, because I didn't really know. And then I turned around when the dogs were attacking my back, and then I just cover my hands like this, and then so the dogs don't get in my hands. That's all.
Were you scared?
Yeah.
What was going through your mind when all this was happening?
I was starting to get really I started kicking one, so they started to stop attacking for a little bit, and then I kicked the Rottweiler, and then they still attacked
You were
me, like,
fighting?
really hard. Yeah.
She's fired.
You were fighting. This is a tough gal.
Yeah.
I only kicked them one time.
Uh-huh.
I have no idea what to do, and then I just started calling for help, and then Tim came up and just walked me home, and then I get rushed to the hospital. And then like when like no one showed up for a while, and then it was a long time, and then it was a really long time, and then Tim heard me screaming, and then he really heard me screaming like super loud, and then other stuff happened, and then I had to go back home, and then my sister Allie, she had to hold me while my dad had to get my mom, and then mom got a shovel, and then she started hitting two dogs at the same time.
Your mom attacked the dogs? Your mom hit the...
Yeah.
Tell us what you did. What did you do?
So the dogs chased her and Tim back into our yard when they were following them, and Eric had taken Kennedy inside, and he thought I was trying to get this van started to take her to the hospital, but the dogs had followed them, so there was a a shovel sitting by the garage door, and I took the shovel and beat the Rottweiler and the Great Dane in the head until they left the property. And then our dachshund ran out.
Don't
and
mess
chased
with
them
an
off.
angry mom.
That's right. That's right.
Wait, what's the dog?
Penny.
Penny.
What kind of dogs were these?
So they were.
You took back to you.
Sure, it was a Great Dane, 2 Rottweilers, and the fork dog, which was there present at the attack but didn't bite, was I believe a pit bull mix.
It was what?
A pit bull mix.
What's your thoughts about all this?
My thoughts are, man, I just don't want this to happen to anybody else's kids. I want my kids to be able to play in the neighborhood. You know, it's sad it comes to this to have to reach out and try to get some help from media just for my kids to feel safe. I mean, it's just as much as their neighborhood as anybody else's. And the big thing about today is hopefully we get enough people to have awareness. You know, a lot of the dog attacks, I've had people reach out to me, and you know, we started what we call a bite support group on Facebook. That we've talked to some people, and it's similar experiences. A lot of times the dogs are frequent offenders. It's not their first time attacking.
So, what did you do? You contacted some legislator about this. Tell me about that.
Correct. So I reached out to the Missouri
Your Missouri rep.
Representative Doyle Justice, who's from Troy, and told him our story and said we need to get some laws changed. You know, right now Missouri has the 1 bite law, and that's not enough.
What's the 1 bite law?
Well, it's not necessarily they change it. They don't call it that, but basically what it is in order for a dog to be deemed vicious, it takes an attack or unprovoked attack, anything along those lines. Now, after that, if the dog attacks again, then it's something that the owner could be charged with a misdemeanor, Class A, Class B, or depending on how the severity.
But the dog could kill somebody the next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or maim a child.
So you talked to the state representative, and what did you tell him, and what did he say?
So I've told him about our story and that we're looking to take this to the state and get something changed, that we need to have something done. And Mr. Justice has said that he's willing to discuss changing this legislation. Yes. And seeing what we can do to do this. So we know it's going to be a long fight, but it's something that we want to do for Kennedy and for other people who've been attacked. A dog biting once should be enough. Should be enough to say that a human life is more important than an aggressive dog. At this point, we feel like these dogs who attacked our daughter, a 6-year-old girl walking down the street, have more rights than she does. You know, she can't play outside. She has nightmares on a weekly basis. She goes to counseling weekly. She doesn't want to go outside to the car or to play because she's terrified that she knows the dogs are still here.
Are you still scared of these dogs, Kennedy?
Yeah.
She's scared of a lot of dogs. Anytime we go somewhere new, that's one of the first questions she asks, are there dogs there?
You still worry about when you see dogs, you still worry? What goes through your head, if you can tell, when you see them?
Like when I see them, I like think because I think they're like just like attacking me or something, like because those things that attacked me, like a Rottweiler or something, and then when they like attack me, they just start to like I think they're gonna attack me because what happened, because I don't know if those are dogs that attacked me, and then I'm starting to worry that the dogs from over there at my neighbor's house, they have dogs, and then like when the thing happened, I'm starting to get really worried because of the dogs, like there is attacking me really big, and then so I think those dogs back there were attacking me, like one of them were I don't know, one of them were talking about me, but attacking me. But I didn't know they were there, but I knew they were black because their face was all black. And then I looked really back at the black one, big tall black one, and it was all black, so I know it was like a big one. Yeah.
So you worry about being attacked again by a dog.
Yeah,
And that's your parent. You guys worry too.
Oh yeah.
absolutely.
We don't let her go out. Like, she used to be able to ride her bike. She used to be able to walk to her best friend's house. Something she's done 100 times. And they don't get to do that anymore. We live in a very small subdivision. In Lincoln County, it's rural. We should be able to let them be kids.
Free range kids.
And they can't, because the dogs are only a few houses up. And if they get out again, and
And
we
if
don't
no
know.
one happens to be there, you were just fortunate
Yes.
that
Yes.
somebody was there. I forgot who you said it was. But,
Neighbor Tim up the street.
Tim and
absolutely.
John.
a neighbor was there.
Yeah.
And was able to rescue your daughter.
God put him in the right
At risk to
place.
himself, she was being attacked by at least 3 dogs
Yeah.
and a pack of 4 dogs, and he waded in
Yes.
to save your daughter.
Yes. He jumped
Yep.
right in.
And the dogs were nipping at him as well, or what? Did they?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm
but
not
he
sure.
waded right in and got your daughter.
Yeah.
And that's an act of heroism.
Absolutely.
And you're just fortunate that somebody came along who would just jump right in.
Yeah.
And we had another neighbor who ran across from his garage, heard her screaming. I think in the reports it says that she was yelling, "They're killing me." Kennedy was yelling that. A 6-year-old was yelling that. And the neighbor heard her and came and got the dogs off of her, and then the other neighbor came in and swooped her up, and then they chased him to our house. These are men that we didn't know, we had not known before this, that jumped in to save our daughter.
Do you want to say anything to them right now? Anything about those guys who saved your
Yeah.
daughter? You've got a good time to say something right now.
I like it.
And
Tim.
give us, do you know their names?
Yeah. Tim Traw and John. I'm sorry, I forgot. his name.
Galbraith.
Galbraith. Yeah. Thank you both for being heroes
Yeah.
that day, for jumping in and saving our daughter, because it's it's scary. There's I feel like I should have been there, but thankfully there's 2 other people there to keep us from having to bury her.
Yeah, without John and Tim there, we don't know that she would have made it home. She wouldn't have. They were there when nobody else was there. We don't know. Goodness. The things that happened that day that we found out about how just things were put into place, they were angels that day. They saved her. We don't have enough words to say thank you.
It means a lot that they step forward.
Yeah, men that we never even met before. We don't even know them. They're just neighbors in our neighborhood who risked their own lives and their well-being to save our little girl. So,
You want to see something done.
absolutely,
We do, and
we
you
have
know,
to.
And it's depending, if we get lost change from this point, I don't know how it affects the current situation, but hopefully it affects the next person that gets attacked.
And you're trying to get in Missouri to have it be a criminal offense for someone's dog to attack someone
Yes.
and hurt him.
Yes, if
You like criminal. What would you like again?
criminal charges against the dog owner. If and it's crazy to me, because if a person attacks another person, it's a crime. If you kill somebody or hurt somebody with your car, it's manslaughter. But you can own a dog and there's nothing that happens to you. Your dog and you get to just be like nothing happened, but yet the victims of the attack, they have physical and long-term psychological and emotional issues that they will deal with for the rest of their lives. And the people who own the dogs, a lot of times, they might have a homeowner's claim, and that's it. We've had multiple victims reach out to us. Them or their kids have been attacked by dogs. Sometimes we've had more than one attack. That they're still there. That they're still living in the same neighborhoods with the dogs. That they're still around the same dogs that now they live in fear of.
One lady had reached out to me. You know, she had a neighbor that was getting attacked by aggressive dogs. She stepped in, and she got bitten on both legs, and it caused nerve damage to her legs. But from what she's telling me, that there was that was the dog's 8th offense of biting, and it took another attack after that before the dog was ever euthanized.
And Kennedy has had to go through some changes after this, you said.
Oh, yes. So she, like we said, she wakes up with nightmares. She has a lot of emotional fears when it comes to dogs or being places where she doesn't know if there's a dog. She's had counseling. She's had to have stitches removed. She's got a piece of chunk of her hair that's been pulled out and missing. We have a lot more to go with her to make sure that she's set up to where she can deal psychologically with dogs in the future. She'll be in counseling for a long time, and this new fear of dogs. My children are animal lovers. We have dogs, and now she has this new fear that wasn't there before.
And you're going to keep fighting this
Absolutely.
until you get something done.
Until we get something voted in, we could be told no, but that's not. We're not going to
We'll go
stop.
back.
We're speaking for a lot of people, not just our family. So there's a lot of people that we're going to support and help and speak out for.
And all the people that have reached out to us, we know, and I say this on every time someone posts something and says something, is we know that we're doing the right thing when we keep getting these stories of these people who are like, I was attacked, I was hurt, and nothing happened. So we know we're doing the right thing.
And so you're calling on the state legislature to change the laws and make it a criminal offense
Yes.
Yep.
for some owner's dog to attack somebody.
And,
Yes.
And the main thing is, if it's an unprovoked attack, then those dogs need to be, seized to the Department of Animal Control or something, just so there's not a second.
And the owner should pay a price as well.
Yes. The owners of the dogs and the dogs themselves.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So there we are, and you have heard their stories. Certainly, I've covered at least 2 stories like this with people. One lady, she was attacked and killed, 62 years old. She was in North St. Louis. She was in her own yard, and her neighbors, 3 pit bulls, got into her yard, attacked her, mauled her to death, and her husband, 76 years old or something like that, tried to intervene. Dogs bit him too and attacked him too, but she was killed in this. And the prosecutor, Gabe Gore, did not file criminal charges. I had obviously I've written some posts about that and the lack of charges filed against the owner, and that certainly charges should have been filed in that case. If Missouri law has changed, perhaps next time the result would be different. And I covered another case about, 3 weeks ago or so. A mom and her daughter were just coming home, not provoking the animal, and 2 pit bulls attacked her and her daughters. In this case here, there was, I think, a Rottweiler and Rottweiler, Great Dane, and what else?
2 Rottweilers.
2 Rottweilers and a Great Dane and a pit bull involved in the pack of dogs. Kennedy says the other dogs bit her, the pit bull didn't, but nonetheless, she was attacked by this pack of dogs, and the parents want to get something done because we hear about this far too often. We hear about people being killed by a pack of dogs, and it happens way too often. And sometimes, like in the case of St. Louis with our prosecutor, Gabe Gore, did nothing. In terms of filing criminal charges, he did not file criminal charges in the case where the 62-year-old woman was mauled to death by 2 pit bulls. I kept asking his office, why was that? And for him to explain his reasoning, we got just silence from the Circuit Attorney's Office of St. Louis. We're going to continue to stay on top of this issue.